Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, it is the final hour of the fourth quarter coming your way on this Monday morning of April 27th, the last Monday of the month of April for the year of 2026. Thanks for hanging out with us as we've been recapping the NFL draft. We've been talking about Packers signing up Jaden Reed and a lot of good stuff there. So keep your input coming. Keep your analysis coming. I don't care if you're a Packers fan or you're a non-Packers fan. If you want to chime in on your favorite team, I'm an open book. I want to hear it. I want to hear some thoughts about your favorite team. Okay? So let's hear it. Do you think Goody, without grade, do you think Goody did a good job this past weekend? Would you give him a solid thumbs up? Maybe 2 thumbs up. All right, let's, instead of letter grades, let's go thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down, 2 thumbs down. How would you grade? How would you assess? I don't want to use the word grade. How would you assess the job that Goody did this past weekend, considering he did not have a first-round pick? So we'll get back to that. We got a little continue to send me your best and worst from the weekend, too. Our VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. We'll do some Glory Days brought to you by Summer Jam. Glory Days. What the heck is Glory Days, Dan? Glory Days? Just, the phrase, back in the day, back in the Glory Days, back in the day we would do this or remember that. That's kind of the theme here. So we do that every Monday morning. So that's coming your way here in just a little bit. But Brewers, not the greatest of weekends. It started off nearly a perfect game for Paul Skeens on Friday. So, okay, let me ask you this. I don't care if it's a Brewers fan or whatever you're a fan of, okay? If your team, because I was having this discussion on Saturday with some peeps at the ball field, and I'm curious to get the rest of you. If your team is on the opposite side of the perfect game. So, okay, Brewers fans, there's Paul Skeens is pitching a perfect game against us. And at a point, do you kind of if the game's out of your team's not going to win? I don't think we want anybody to have a perfect game against your team, but if it was going to happen, would you rather have it happen to somebody like a Paul Skeens instead of maybe, a random pitcher, journeyman pitcher or something it's Paul Skeens. So I guess if it was going to happen, at least it would have been like somebody like Paul Skeens, who we know is a really, really, really good pitcher. So, does that matter to you? Or maybe it's not that big of a deal? I was just kind of listening to some people on Saturday kind of kick it around and such. And, it was, I'd say the majority was clearly like, hey, if it was going to happen, at least it was a pitcher like Paul Skeens and not, again, maybe a guy that nobody knows a whole lot about or is just kind of a journeyman. Not to take anything away from those because those are really great, but I think it's more so like, hey, at least it was against somebody who, is really, really, really good. But almost had that Friday. Extra innings on Saturday, had chances. Blowed it up there, but at least Kyle Harrison comes in like Superman and saves the day yesterday with a dominating performance, going 6 innings, 12 Ks. Kyle Harrison this year has, in my opinion, lived up to the talk. I don't want to say hype yet, but he's lived up to the talk. He is, for when that trade went down, he was, for lack of a better phrase, the crown jewel for the return to the Brewers. And a lot of talk about some of his nasty stuff. Kid is really talented. The potential is really there. We saw glimpses of it in spring training. We saw it in the last tune-up against the Reds. We've seen bits of it this year, especially his first game against Tampa. And then yesterday we saw it too with his 12 Ks. Kyle Harrison, 2-1, 2.28 ERA, 30 strikeouts to begin the season. And this is with him missing a start on here too. Because if we look at it from a pitching standpoint, Mizorowski's got 51 strikeouts in 6 games. Aaron Ashby's got 30 strikeouts in 15 games. But he's also did it in 18 innings pitched. And then Kyle Harrison, 23.2 innings pitched, 30 strikeouts. Let's go back to Aaron Ashby here for a second. Because this even kind of took me by surprise a little bit. He's 5-0, 2.45 ERA. He has appeared in 15 games. He's leading the Brewers right now. 15 games. But in 18 and a third innings pitched, 30 strikeouts. 30 strikeouts in under 20 innings pitched. Against Pittsburgh yesterday, he struck out 2. Pittsburgh Saturday struck out 4. It has, how do I want to phrase this properly to give him his due? But has Aaron Ashby been maybe the biggest pleasant surprise? It's not like to say he was awful last year. That's why I don't know if that's the best way to kind of phrase it, but I think I'll tell you what, he's surpassed whatever expectation I think I've had for him so far. I thought he'd be a good, solid, middle relief kind of guy, but this guy has pitched in some tight situations, some big moments, and for the most part has come out of this thing unscathed. I mean, in the month of April alone, 13, just under 14 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts. And that is with 4 games where he didn't record a strikeout. 1, 2 and a third, 2. So 3 total innings, if you want to break it down, because some he only pitched like a third of an inning or 2/3 of an inning. Those are pretty darn impressive. 9 Ks in the month of March in 4 2/3. Had 2 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts. But Aaron Ashby has been playing at a really high level so far for this team. I know we like to throw in, where would this team be without so-and-so? Where would this team be without the performance of this guy? But Aaron Ashby's been doing a lot of the work. So, I mean, he's thrown 258 pitches so far this season. Let me see if I can... Well, in terms of innings pitched, it's Mizorowski, it's Brandon Woodruff, but I was wondering, can I get it? Well, how many pitches has Mizorowski gone out there? Let me just kind of compare that to Aaron Ashby. I don't want that one. I want this one. So, Mizorowski has pitched a total of... Okay, so Mizorowski's pitched 459. Ashby is at 258. Okay. I mean, even the Miz, he hasn't gone a game that's been under, one game that's been under 90 pitches, and that was Toronto when he went 5 1/3, and it was only 76 pitches. But Pittsburgh, he went 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and 9 Ks. The fewest amount of Ks he had was that Toronto game with 5. Otherwise, he's 11, 7, 10, 5, 9, 9. Just a strikeout machine. Where's Jacob Mizorowski in terms of league leaders and strikeouts? Let me bring that up here really quick. So the Miz is number 1. Number 1. Jacob Mizorowski is number 1 in Major League Baseball in terms of strikeouts. He's got 51. The next closest is McLean from the Mets at 45, and then Dylan Cease from Toronto's at 44, along with Gavin Williams from Cleveland. So, yeah, Miz is up 6 on the next closest player, and even Nolan's pitched 3 more innings, but Dylan Cease has only pitched 25 2/3, and he's at 44 strikeouts. Opponent's batting average, yeah, Paul Skeens is top. I think that previous game really helped him out there, but 145. So, I think the biggest issue right now, yeah, the bullpen has given up some leads and such, and still, I'd still like to see some more offensive support, some more offensive help with this ball club to help out some of these pitchers. hopefully Jackson Cheerio's coming back soon. I know he's been getting more working in that, so hopefully, just fingers crossed, man. And Gelly. Be nice to get those guys back. Off day today for the Brew Crew before they begin a home series against the Diamondbacks, and then the Brewers will be back on the road taking on the Washington Nationals. I'm kind of like, can we get back to some division games and try to make up some ground right now, because they're tied for the last place in their division. They've got the Cardinals coming up a week from today. And then the Cubs, May 18th. They haven't. When's the first time they play the Reds? Not till June? Is that right? Right after Father's Day weekend, June 22nd, they visit the Reds? Is that the first time they play them? I think so. All right. Interesting. Okay, let's take a quick break. Plenty more to get to, though. I want to get back to some of your texts and comments, so we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't forget to sign up for the 6th annual Casper Classic. I know it's not till August, but spots are coming off, and spots are going to be limited. So you just go to WAYYradio.com, sportstalk1051.com, or 715store.com to sign up your two-person team today, Friday, August 7th. Going over at Lake Cali Golf Course, we've got a 7:30 a.m. tee time, we've got a 10 a.m. tee time, and a 1 p.m. tee time. Who will come away with the title belts this year? Big thanks to some of our sponsors already, Window World, VFW Post 305. We've got Hy-Vee on there. We've got Superior Auto Body, Myron Construction. So if you're interested in helping sponsor, partner up with us to help support Backyard Dreams, reach out, or maybe it's just a prize donation, raffle donation, that would be amazing. All right, amazing. So your team fee of just $90, 9 holes of golf, cart, food, a couple drink tickets. It's a heck of a deal, right? So again, head on over to WAYRadio.com, sportstalk1051.com. You'll see the icon right on the homepage to sign up your two-person team. Let's do some Glory Days, brought to you by Summer Jam here in Eau Claire. So again, Glory Days is kind of like, just, we've all used the phrase, oh, back in the day, or those were the glory days, right? Sports edition, sports-wise. And when I was looking some things up for this, I had noticed it was this day in 1983. 1983, Nolan Ryan became the strikeout king when he passed Walter Johnson for the most strikeouts in Major League Baseball. At that time, it was 3,509. Nolan Ryan finished his career, though, 5,714 strikeouts. So Walter Johnson had that record in 1983. Since then, he is now 10th. And there's a chance he may fall down to 11th because Max Scherzer is right behind him. Max Scherzer has 3,499. Walter Johnson, 3,509. But the top 10, Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Steve Carlton, Bert Blyleven, Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, Justin Verlander, Gaylord Perry, and Walter Johnson. Man, those were and the thing is, I don't think we're going to see anybody break Nolan Ryan's record anymore. Because I just feel like with where pitching's at and the innings pitched and the longevity of these pitchers and that sort of, I don't think we're going to see it. Chris Sale is outside of Verlander, who's 43 years old, and he's number 8. Max Scherzer's 41 years old, and he's number 11. Chris Sale is 37 years old. He's the next closest, active-wise. He's 28th on this list, but he's 37 years old. He's got 2,617. Garrett Cole is 35 years old, and he's 61. He's the next closest active. So, I mean, did I just see it? Okay. Sonny Gray is 106. I saw Aaron, and I was like, is that Aaron's fault? No, it was Aaron Nola. So, but anyways, point being, back in, the good old days of these pitchers that would eat up all these innings, go deep. And here's the thing, too. Nolan Ryan, 5,386 innings pitched. Randy Johnson, this one actually surprised me, 4,875 strikeouts, second all time. He only pitched 4,135 in the third innings. But back in the day, those were the glory days of workhorses, war horses, whatever you want to call them, when it came to starting pitchers. I don't think I'm going to see that again in my lifetime, especially in the near future. Not going to see these pitchers go out there, eat up those innings, and rack up some of those strikeout numbers. That is going to be, no, I'm not going to see it. And I don't think my kid's going to see it unless something changes here. But those were the glory days of these pitchers of, like Randy. I'll talk about it like when I was younger. Okay, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, before we knew some of the stuff. Greg Maddux is on here. Pedro Martinez is on here. Even Kurt Schilling, I'll throw him in there. CC Sabathia, John Smoltz. I loved 90s era pitchers when I was a kid growing up. When you're playing whatever Major League Baseball game you're playing and you're loading up on pitchers, it was always like a group of Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez. It was always a combination of those guys. You didn't have to worry about teams declining trades. It's like, I'm going to load up on pitchers, and it's usually going to be some of those, a combination of those four. But those were, to me, that's the definition of, when I think about a starting pitcher, I think about those guys. And even, I got, a little bit of a memory of Nolan Ryan towards the back end of his career too. But those are the guys when I think about pitchers. Whenever we get to debates and talks about, putting together your all-time baseball team or putting together your all-time rotation or best pitchers of all time, it's those guys. Nolan Ryans, the Randy Johnsons, those guys. Because they went deep into games. They've got the numbers. They pitched for a long time. Looking at these pitchers, too, you're talking 27 years, 22 years, 24, 22, 20, 23. The longevity of these guys. It's amazing. And they would go through those innings. They played long, but then they racked up those innings. Man, those were the glory days of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. And I'm not trying to take away anything from like a Paul Skeens or these younger dudes. I'll be curious to see where Paul Skeens, when it's all said and done with his career, where he ends up on this list, strikeout numbers and all that. Because I really believe that he could be a top 20. Right now, Clayton Kershaw is 20th on this list, 3,052. But with Paul Skeens, with his age, and if he has a good, clean bill of health throughout the majority of his career, would that be far-fetched to say he's top 20? No, but Paul Skeens also reminds me of an old-school pitcher. Man, those were the glory days, though. I think that's one record that's never going to be broken, is that Nolan Ryan one. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're approaching the halfway mark of our final quarter here. Let's get to it. All right, quick break, and we'll be right back here in just a couple minutes. Final thoughts on your draft analysis from your favorite team. Okay, final call for that. Hit me up, 715-830-1912. Going back to a little Brewers chat here, just because catching up on some of the messages. We've got a couple of you saying, not worried yet about the Brewers, but definitely, this is from Brian, by the way. Brian saying, definitely need better performance from the offense. This team desperately needs Jackson Churio and Christian Yelich to get back into the lineup. Hopefully they can continue to tread some water until those guys can get back into it. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give you any credit, but the texter saying, not worried about this team. We're not even into May yet. They're grinding through some of their injuries to their main offensive players. I just hope when the offensive players do come back that everybody stays healthy and that this whole team can actually play together. Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of where I'm at with this boat too. We're not to May yet. Okay, you're in a very tough division so far. Let's keep these pitchers healthy until Jackson Churio, Christian Yelich, a lot of the offensive players are are back at it. Jackson Cheerio, by the way, he did take some cuts yesterday, but or not yesterday, a couple days ago. So hopefully that we're going to get to a rehab assignment here in just a little bit. But yeah, he was, because there's was it he in the batting cage? I think in Milwaukee. Yeah, taking some cuts in that in there too. So hopefully him and Andrew Vaughn. I don't want to discredit Andrew Vaughn or anything like that too. But I think we're all the top two that Brewers fans here are patiently waiting for him to get back is Jackson Cheerio and Christian Yelich, just to kind of solidify that lineup, because I'll be at the bottom end of this lineup ain't doing a whole lot. There's really no production coming from this. So if you get a Cheerio and a Yelich back and maybe kind of push down some of those hitters, it'll hopefully improve that. But just a quick, I want to see what Cooper Pratt's doing at the minor league level, because we need something from an that reaction, because he's hitting 205 with a 608 OPS right now. I was really hoping to see something positive from an offensive standpoint, but all right, in 20 games, 78 at-bats, he's got 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 205 batting average. Ooh. All right, what about, can Jet Williams come up yet? What's Jet Williams doing? Let me bring up those numbers, because we got to get something from that side of the field. Offensively, we need something. He is 223. 2 home runs and 8 stolen bases. OPS for 644. These are all below career averages right now. So there's really nothing of the top prospect of these top names out there. There's not a whole lot. All right, I was kind of hoping maybe, but no, it doesn't look like it. Okay, back to the draft here quick, because I did see a couple things. Again, I'm not big into grading right after the draft, but I do look at some things, and I do look at, I don't necessarily pay attention. I don't pay attention to the letter grades that a lot of these experts look at, but I look at what they had to say about the picks and their analysis of everything. That's what I pay attention. I don't look at they got a C+ because of that and whatever. That's no. But one of them that I was reading during the break here a little bit was from Matt Miller from ESPN. And he had he has this piece up with kind of talking about some of the best picks, but best value. That's the word I was trying to find. The best value. And he picked Green Bay. Best value pick in round 4, He picked Green Bay with the Danny Dennis Sutton pick. As he said, I'd love to take Jermon McCoy like the other Jordan Reed did, but let's highlight Dennis Sutton's value. My 56th overall player fell to the Packers at pick 120 and will immediately boost the outside pass rush. With Micah Parsons' return date unknown, Dennis Sutton will have a chance to play early. The Packers did show up again on their piece, and it was the quarterback position. And this one comes from Jordan Reed saying, the Packers usually take a quarterback during the late rounds, so I'm surprised they didn't select one, considering this was a draft to find a long-term backup. But with only 6 picks, they elected to not add to their quarterback room that isn't exactly secure at the backup spots, Desmond Ridder and Kyle McCord, after losing Malik Willis. I get it, but I also think they kind of answered the same question there. 6 picks. They ended up with 6 picks. If you're going to have a smaller draft class like that with just 6 picks, I think you focus on trying to find players that can help you out right now. Now, that's not to diminish backup quarterback, because we have seen the last couple of years of just how important the backup quarterback spot is in Green Bay. But if I had the choice of having a 7th-round quarterback or Desmond Ridder to start a game, I'm picking Desmond Ridder. He's got starting experience. He's got NFL experience. Is it a great option? Probably not. But honestly, we probably thought the same thing with Malik Willis when he first came to Green Bay, too. A lot of teams, if you're going to be playing your backup quarterback, you're probably not going to win too many games, but you'd like to at least have a shot. And I feel like it's a better shot to have Desmond Ridder as your starter over a 7th-round backup quarterback. I'd rather have that, especially when you only have 6 total picks. That's just my opinion. And they did bring in a quarterback in their undrafted class. And it's a guy that Green Bay brought in. And honestly, I was reading a little bit about him before the draft, too. It's this kid from Virginia Tech. And there was, let me try to find that piece that I was reading. I should have saved it. But he talked a lot about, during his visit, Drones from Virginia Tech, by the way, talked a lot about his visit where they said they kind of, envision him as maybe a little bit like a Malik Willis type of player. So be kind of curious to see how many snaps, reps he gets, in preseason. I know Green Bay has often at times maybe tried to limit those type of reps so they can release him and try to stash him on the practice squad and that. I think at sometimes, though, don't be too cute. But, yeah, Drones and Morton from Texas Tech were the only quarterbacks to take a top 30 visit with the Packers. The Patriots actually selected Morton in the 7th round. So it's not a big surprise that they decided to pick him up in the undrafted free agent class because they were familiar with him, bringing him over in a top 30 visit. He's an athletic quarterback. He ran for 3 seasons. He rushed the ball for 818 yards, 336 yards, 644 yards, combined 28 total touchdowns, threw for 2,085 yards, 1,562, 1,919, combined 44 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, throwing the ball at Virginia Tech. So you can see similarities of bringing him in to maybe like a Malik Willis type of quarterback. But I honestly feel that Desmond Ridder is going to be the backup. Drones is probably going to be on the practice squad. So they can maybe develop him a little bit more. So, of the undrafted, I know we haven't really touched on this, but of the undrafted players that the Packers brought in, I know they brought in Josh Jacobs' brother as an undrafted free agent. It's a neat story. It's a cool story. I don't know if he would actually have a chance to make the team, but you got Nixon at running back from UCF. This wide receiver from Florida, I'm kind of curious about, because if we just use the RAS, the relative athletic score, this guy scored incredibly high, 9.96 out of 10. That's 19, ranked 19th out of 4,190 wide receivers. This is a guy who's a bigger receiver, 200 pounds. So maybe something to kind of watch there in our annual Lindsey Pipkins undrafted or late round rookie watch when we get to preseason and training camp that can maybe get on the roster. Another guy that I'll throw out there too is Gesky from Illinois. Another lineman, interior offensive lineman, very high score in the RAS. So I'm kind of looking at those guys as some maybe guys to watch. So, all right, we got to take our final break, and it's picks time. We've got some baseball games. We've got playoffs in the NBA, the Stanley Cup Finals or Stanley Cup playoffs going on too. So, lots of games to pick. let's get at it, shall we? We'll take our final break, and we'll be back to wrap up this Monday program in just a couple minutes. All right, let's wrap it up here on this Monday morning with some picks, shall we? Let's start off with the NBA playoffs, where we've got Detroit taking on Orlando. Orlando holding on to a 2-1 series lead. Even with it being in Orlando and me being a former Magic guy myself, I'm going to go with Detroit picking up the win to tie it up. OKC versus Phoenix. I think the Thunder sweep it. They get the win tonight. Minnesota at Denver. Minnesota has got Denver on the ropes, but with no Anthony Edwards, no Dante DiVincenzo, I do think Denver wins tonight to extend this series, but Minnesota holding on to a 3-1 lead. So let's go to a little Stanley Cup playoffs. We've got 2 games on the docket for tonight. Philadelphia at Pittsburgh. If Philly wins, they win. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think they extend the series. Vegas, Utah. Utah leads the series at 2-1. I'm going to go Vegas to even it up, though, at 2 games apiece. Now, let's go to some Major League Baseball games. We got a few games on the docket, not a full-on slate here, but let's start off with Tampa Bay at Cleveland. I'm going to go Cleveland. St. Louis at Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Boston at Toronto. Dylan Cease, Ranger Suarez. I'm going to go Toronto. We've got the Angels taking on the White Sox. White Sox. Seattle taking on Minnesota. Sorry, Twins fans. I'm going to go Seattle. Got the Yankees taking on the Rangers of Texas. I'm going to go Yankees. Max Fried's on the mound. Chicago Cubs taking on the Padres. Come on, Padres. Let's go. Randy Vasquez. Can you beat Matthew Boyd? Miami Dodgers. I will go with the Dodgers tonight. So, all right. Those are your picks for this Monday morning. All right. Coming up tomorrow, it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. So this is your homework assignments for tomorrow, all right? So listen up, kids. What's grinding your gears? I want to hear from you tomorrow. All right, think about it for a little bit. It's a feel better Tuesday because we're also doing some confessions, and I want to hear some sports confessions coming from you tomorrow. So that's your homework assignment. Give me what's grinding your gears, and give me some confessions. Also, you got a third assignment because with it being Tuesday, it is also I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Y'all got one, so I want to hear it. Okay? Send those messages on over to us starting. You can do it now if you want. I'll just save it for tomorrow. All right? So maybe tomorrow we'll kind of hit up best available in terms of the free agency in the NFL with the Packers draft now in the books. Maybe we'll take a look at what's still available out there for the Packers, maybe to address some positions of need, depth purposes and such. Who's some veterans out there that Green Bay could maybe bring in for like a 1-year deal in that. So we'll hit that up probably maybe tomorrow. We'll take a look at that too. So Brewers will begin a series with the Diamondbacks tomorrow. So hopefully we can win some games and get back up into those standings in the Central. Hopefully we'll get some bats alive. Maybe get some bats back too. That'd be really nice to get that. So we'll hit that up. Maybe the Timberwolves move on. Well, we've got Stanley Cup Finals. The Wild and Stars are going to be back at it tomorrow too. So that series is tied at 2 apiece. But we'll hit up that for a little bit. RJ will be joining us. Tomorrow we'll catch up on all things Badgers related. A little bit more in terms of Badger basketball. So we'll catch up with him and talk about Badger women's basketball too with the recruiting class that's coming in. There's a lot of talk about that. So plus some updates from spring football practice for the Badgers. Maybe specifically a little bit more towards the offensive side. So we got some updates surrounding that. So we'll talk to RJ Cardinal about that coming your way tomorrow too. So And then think about this too. I'll add an extra credit assignment to your homework tab. With Jane Reed signing, 2 parts. Who do you think is next in line to get a contract? Who should be the priority to get the contract extension? And another extra credit. If you're Christian Watson, if the Packers offer you a contract right now, and it's a pay raise, it's a sizable one, but maybe doesn't put you in the top 10 of receivers. I'm not arguing whether you think he's a top 10 receiver or not, but they're going to look for big paydays, and they're going to look at those numbers. If you put yourself in Christian Watson's shoes, do you bet on yourself this year? And if you ball out, maybe you get top 10 money. Again, it doesn't mean that you're a top 10 receiver. It's just what the market will give you. Do you bet on yourself this year? Or do you take the security knowing some of the injuries that you've had? And I get it. I feel like a lot of fans are probably going to say take the security. But seriously, try to put yourself in his shoes. What would you do? It's easy for us as fans to say, hey, take the security right now, maybe take a cheaper deal. Because a lot of us want that. But really try to put yourself in his shoes. What would you do? Would you bet on yourself this year? You look at it, it's like, okay, no Romeo, no Dontavian. I'm going to get some more targets. I'm going to be healthy, knock on wood, to open up the season. I'll be ready to go. I'm going to bet on myself and put up 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns, and make bank. Or, like, you know what? I'm going to take the security. It's still a good chunk of money. I'm not going to be paid as a top 10 receiver, but where I'm going to go. What would you do? All right. That's your extra credit, part of your extra credit assignment. Plus, who do you put on the priority list? And, okay, maybe I should spread this out. Do you pick up the 5th-year option for Lucas Van Ness? Because that deadline is coming up here quick. If you're Goody, do you pick up that 5th-year option for Lucas Van Ness? Knowing Micah Parsons, you got him, but after that, a lot of youngsters. Might be another tough call. But we'll try to hit up all that tomorrow. All right, so I'm throwing a lot at you, but that's because I want to get your input and your thoughts on it all. Have a good rest of your Monday. All right, stay dry out there. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, same place, same time, 6 a.m., the TDS Sports Talk Studios. We'll talk to you all then.